Welcome to EVTN News. Today, I want to talk about what is it called? The Robotron variant or Optimus Prime variant or whatever. They all sound like Transformers. And I want to say, I want to identify as a transformer. Anyway, we're going to talk about TLM crackdowns, and we're going to start in South Carolina, talk about priests in the Diocese of Charleston, South Carolina, may no longer administer confirmation or the anointing of the sick in Latin using the pre-Vatican II Roman Missal. The policy was announced by Charleston Bishop Robert E. Guglielmone, and he also limits the use of the traditional Latin Mass. So there you go. He states that in the new policy that the Latin Mass cannot be celebrated for midnight Mass at Christmas or during the Triduum or the Easter Vigil. A single traditional Latin Mass is allowed on All Souls Day. On weekdays, the older rite may be celebrated if an additional Mass is celebrated according to the Novus Ordo on the same day. So what we're seeing is bishops who are very hostile towards the Latin Mass. And here's another one in South Carolina. What's interesting is, if there's any Latin Mass orders, they're going to have to celebrate private Masses for the Triduum. So that's going to be a little bit of a concern for a lot of these places. And good job. Not really. There was a report on Gloria TV that a Spanish priest died, Father Javier Rodriguez Coche, 50 years old. He died suddenly in the morning of October 14th at his private home in Magnan, northern Spain. He was ordained in 1999, and he was among the youngest priests of the Maldonado Ferrol Diocese and had been entrusted with 35 parishes. 35 parishes, yeah, I did not read that incorrectly. There's only 2,000 lay people, and he was also the chaplain of 2 old people's homes. He managed to offer Mass in up to 7 different parishes per day. He was suffering from heart problems, and that was possibly the cause of his death. But I mean, 35 parishes, it's kind of like larger than life, I've heard of priests covering 4 parishes. I haven't heard of a priest covering 35 until I saw this story, so I figured I'd share it with you. And he offered Mass in seven different parishes per day. I don't know if that's just on Sundays or if it's every weekday. I mean, that's pretty unbelievable. And I don't know the geography of northern Spain, but it appears there's only 2,000 faithful and 35 total parishes. That it would seem like there's not very many people in really any of the parishes. But who's he going to be replaced by, and what are they going to do? That's certainly interesting. But and I think that priests are being asked to, stretch. Like the bishops are trying to kind of stretch how many masses the priests say and how many parishes they're covering, and there's going to be a point where a lot of parishes are going to be closed. Right now it seems like there's a lot of mergers, so they're merging a bunch of different parishes in preparation for the closure of certain church buildings. And if you're only going to have 3 people at a daily Mass, if you're only going to have 20 people attend a Sunday Mass, and there's a parish that's a 15-minute drive away, that one parish probably isn't going to stay open very long. That's what I think. So, okay. We have Catholic University of America, a Pieta painting displayed at the Catholic University of America's Law School that some see as depicting George Floyd in the place of Jesus was stolen Tuesday night, the school announced. But in an email Wednesday, November 24th, President John Garvey said the artwork has been replaced by a smaller version of the same painting that previously hung in the school's campus ministry office. Garvey wrote, "There are those who would like to see George Floyd as the male figure in the icon. That is not how we read it. The image represents to our community a good faith attempt to include religious imagery on a campus that reflects the universality of the Catholic Church." Garvey said he would not be ordering the school to take down the painting because of his no cancellation policy. And it has been, he said, it has been the university's policy throughout my time as president not to cancel speakers or prevent speech by members of the community. And they did actually try to cancel Abby Johnson. And after some, and this was just in February 2021, after some pushback, they rescheduled her appearance and her speech. However, there is an alternative event at the same time um, talking about consistent life ethic. That's what it's called. It's another word for seamless garment heresy. And yeah, so yeah, they don't cancel speakers unless they're Catholic, and there was pressure on this president to reinstate Abby Johnson. So yeah, maybe he can make this claim. I don't know, but the fact that this was stolen, it kind of brings back to, shades of Alexander Teshugoel throwing the Pachamamas in the river. And maybe it's to a lesser degree. Of course, it's not blatant sacrilege in a church, but the university replaced the painting that was stolen with the same painting. So it's like, all right, you know, they're going to continue promoting their ideology, and that's just it. Catholic University, maybe they should change their name, take the word Catholic out of university. Just call themselves University. Wouldn't that be funny? Parishioners, so about 50 parishioners protested outside Our Lady of Guadalupe Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, over what they say is the eradication of culture and tradition from Minnesota's first Hispanic parish. Obviously, these people are a little bit on the non-Catholic side, because among specific complaints, they say that Aztec dancers are no longer allowed inside the church. There's no Sunday school or choir. Masses previously led in Spanish are now in Latin, and women are not allowed on the altar. It actually sounds like some good changes to me, and it sounds like these people, they can go right down the road and find another clown mass. One of the protesters, Vincent Mendez, said, "It feels like we're being forced out again," and added that the parishioners just want to save our church. So do the people that attend the Latin Mass. Except that the people that want to, what do you want to save your church from the practices that are not Catholic? Or do you want to save your church, but by saving your church, does that mean you want to save the practices that are non-Catholic, that are pagan, and that are sacrilegious? Sure sounds like it, but the masses previously led in Spanish are now in Latin. Wouldn't it be nice if the Catholic Church had a universal language where you could go to any mass in any country and you would understand what's going on? Yeah, all right. Speaking of Latin, we're going to the Fairfield Carmelites in Pennsylvania. LifeSite News, they've been releasing a lot of articles about the Fairfield Carmelites, and this is, I'm not a big fan of how LifeSite News kind of like, they restate what they said like a week ago, and then they restate what they said 2 weeks ago, and about the Fairfield Carmelites, they just keep adding to the articles. Basically, they're like, oh, let's summarize what we wrote every article for the past several weeks. Now, I don't really like that part of it, but I kind of picked out some important parts here, and this is kind of a long, some new items here. Remember, the Fairfield Carmelites had an apostolic visitation from Rome. There was a big interview with Father Maximilian on LifeSite News, and they released that interview. They released the interview after the visitation took place, but the interview was pre-recorded. It was recorded before the visitation took place, and so it was kind of like the timeline was kind of weird, but Anyway, I'm going to go on here with more information on this. Catherine Bauer, the official spokeswoman for the traditional Carmelite nuns of Fairfield, Pennsylvania, has given an interview to Catholic World Report explaining the situation of these nuns. Fairfield Carmelites include 25 nuns and receive about 100 inquiries per year. And so it appears that they may turn down quite a few people wishing to join their monastery. In her November 20th interview with Catholic World Report, Catherine Bauer explained how, under the new reform rules inspired by Orans, I believe this is motu proprio, um, the Carmelite nuns would lose their autonomy, their oversight of the formation of their novices, and their financial independence. She said it gives officials in the Holy See access to the financial assets of the nuns and their properties. It gives them the ability to take control of the monastery, evict the nuns, and then have financial control over the property. Why would the Vatican want a vacant property? It's bizarre. It's very strange. Ms. Bauer also described some of the details of the recent apostolic visitation, during which the nuns were visited by 2 Carmelite nuns and 1 Carmelite father at the behest of the Congregation for Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life in Rome. One of the defenders of this visitation and a critic of the Fairfield and Valparaiso nuns is Sister Gabriella of the Incarnation of the Carmelites in Flemington, New Jersey. As LifeSite News has reliably learned, she has been charged with rewriting the traditional 1990 descaled Carmelite constitutions to conform with Orans, without disclaiming her prominent role in the Bergoglian reform of the Carmelite contemplative order. She is now posting numerous articles critical of the Fairfield nuns, trying to show them to be irrational and disobedient. She posted some of these articles on the website Francis against any critic who opposes his agenda. We call it Where Pachamama Is. So she's a writer for this rotten website who features a lot of people who hold heretical ideas. And maybe she does too, I don't know. All right, Ms. Bauer added that they know of 60 monasteries which are against the changes imposed upon them by Pope Francis' reform plan of organizing monasteries into associations and of increasing the influence of larger associations upon the spirituality of the individual monasteries. She said, but the Fairfield Carmelites are the only ones willing to take a stand. The Fairfield nuns do not want to be in this position in which they are being forced to choose between their charism and the heart of the church. They love the magisterium, they love the church and its history, they have no intention of being schismatic, nor do they want to disobey rules. They are Carmelites and they are Catholic, but this is their church too, and they shouldn't be forced to choose between 500 years of Carmelite history and being in the heart of the church. It certainly appears that these nuns are prepared to resist these changes that are being forced by the Vatican. So different sources with whom LifeSite News has discussed the situation in Fairfield, some of whom are priests and lawyers, think the Carmelite nuns who wish to maintain their traditional charism should accept that their cloisters will be dissolved by the Vatican and subsequently continue to live and pray together in their traditional charism as a private lay association. All right, so that provides you some insight on what's going on there, and it's going to continuously be, we're going to continuously receive updates as situations change. And, what's happening in Fairfield, though, is what's going to happen to every traditional community eventually. And so we can see this as sort of what you call a leading indicator on what's going to happen. All right, so let's talk about more unjabbed ban for masses. The Archdiocese of Berlin last week announced it would implement what is called a 2G requirement, meaning that only those who are jabbed or have recovered from the virus, have a medical exemption for the jab, or under 18 can have access to liturgies. And so your kid can have it, but you can't. Your kid can go to Mass, but you can't if you're not jabbed. The Archdiocese allows minor exemptions, saying that in a statement that each parish on Sundays and public holidays, that in each parish, the unjabbed would be able to attend under a 3G requirement, meaning a negative test would be accepted. So what are you going to do? Test on Monday and then get a negative test, and then it's just it's dumb. This is Archbishop Heiner Koch, and yeah, bad idea. As in most European dioceses, receiving communion in the hand is now practiced as a rule. In Germany, communion on the tongue is occasionally allowed only as an exception. sometimes at the end of Mass. Rotten. Bishop should resign. Uh, and moving on to Austria. Austria is basically communist, whatever. There's some parallels to certain German former leaders in terms of segregation in Austria. And the Archdiocese of Vienna, Austria, said in a November 14th statement that it was applying the 2G rule to all types of gatherings, regardless of the number of people, and it added it was applicable to choirs and music groups. Many church-run events have been canceled, but liturgies and Eucharistic adoration will continue. Austria is subject to strict jab requirements, and the bishops have so far been silent about it. Now, Austria's bishops have also encouraged Catholics to postpone the reception of the sacraments of baptism, First Communion, confirmation, and marriage during the lockdown. Okay, so I guess you can postpone First Communion, confirmation, and marriage, even though how long are you going to postpone it for? The next 6 months or for the next 5 years until this nonsense ends, or what? But baptisms, they're encouraging Catholics to postpone baptisms. Sounds like some people don't have supernatural faith, and they just happen to be bishops in this case. So we're also going international here. There's a lot of interesting international news. I mean, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on outside the United States. Obviously, I'm pretty focused on, what's happening domestically. But, I mean, there's just so much crazy stuff going on. What do you think about this? Let me know. Our online parish is the future of the modern church. The Archdiocese of Brisbane in Australia launches the first online parish. The Archbishop Mark Coleridge said the innovation was sparked by the continued interest in online masses, even though virus restrictions have eased to enable churches to welcome back parishioners. The online parish will be led by Father Peter Branley, who will be a regular on the Archdiocese's social media platforms, engaging viewers across southeast Queensland and beyond. Many Catholic dioceses and parishes provide a live stream of masses, but the Archdiocese wanted to go a step further and create an online parish that can be a central meeting point in the same way a physical parish brings together its community. So first off, Archbishop Coleridge is rotten. I mean, he stands for everything that the Catholic faith doesn't. But the idea of an online parish is so ridiculous. I mean, think about it. Like, it's like, all right, are we gonna go on a Zoom meeting? Like, let's go on a Zoom meeting. You can live stream literally, like, you can live stream mass pretty much any country in the world. Most dioceses now still have online parishes, and I see RR says they're making a literal virus church. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's really kind of a joke church because it's not a real church, and you can't receive any of the sacraments digitally, and so it's so here's the thing. He admitted it, Trendy Web. He admitted it was an innovation. Exactly. So here's the thing. I can go online and I can live stream mass from the Institute of Christ the King somewhere. And so one example is Limerick, Ireland. I like their live stream masses. I never watch them because I go to actual mass. But when I was locked down from mass, I was able to watch the live stream masses from the Institute of Christ the King, their church in Limerick, Ireland. And no matter what time I woke up in the morning, they already had their mass in the morning. Because they're 5 hours ahead of us in the Eastern time zone of the United States. And so that was actually very convenient for me. And they had an organist and obviously Reverent Latin Mass. And I was able to watch that. And so what's to say that this parish that's designated as the live stream parish, it's not even a real parish. I mean, come on. Like, you might as well just have it. You might as well just have mass in a shed, save money that way on utilities, And since no one's going to be attending, and then all you need to do is have an internet connection and a camera. So, are there going to be online only virus bishops? Well, I mean, some of these bishops have been hiding for the past year and a half. I mean, they haven't come out of their they haven't come out of their houses in the past year and a half. And I see a comment about Bishop Barron here. Let's see. Um, I guess Barron is already Diocese of the Internet bishop. Well, I mean, I think he was getting a lot of views for his live stream masses during the shutdowns. So that's one thing to consider. Moving on to France. The Archbishop of Paris, Michel Alpetit, has offered his resignation to Pope Francis due to his, quote, ambiguous behavior with a woman, the diocese announced on Friday. They said, the spokeswoman said he had ambiguous behavior with a person he was very close to, adding that it was not a loving relationship nor sexual. Ambiguous behavior. All right. Is there ambiguous behavior in seminaries? Is that, like, I don't know. If I make an ambiguous statement when I'm talking to someone, does that constitute ambiguous behavior? This cracked me up. I mean, what are they trying to prove here? Um, and why did it specify with a woman? At least it's with a woman. Um, So anyway, he offered his resignation to Pope Francis, and this could be another sham resignation, kind of like Cardinal Marx, and there was another bishop from Germany who did the same thing. And Pope Francis mercifully declined both resignations. And will this be another one where this Archbishop humbly offers his resignation, and Pope Francis mercifully declines, and then everyone looks like a better person, and Pope Francis will say, by the way, I mean, we can eliminate this behavior by allowing married priests. Um, anyway, I think the people of the lay people and the Latin Mass attendees in Paris would be very glad if Pope Francis accepted his resignation, because he had a crackdown on the Latin Mass, and he had some hostility. Was he the first one to ban the FSSP? I don't know. I don't know that was this guy. I think it might have been a different one, but he's definitely been on the wrong side of a lot of things. Okay, and we're staying in France. The Cathedral of Notre Dame. Remember that? They're rebuilding it. Following the fire on April 15th, 2019, modern architects started making plans for the new and updated cathedral, Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France. Proposed plans include a giant glass spire to signify secularism, or an Islamic minaret to respect the growing Muslim population. Oh, how wonderful. Another idea included a glass swimming pool on the roof of the cathedral. Why don't you just make it a wave pool? Under new plans, confessional boxes, altars, and classical sculptures will be scrapped for trendy art murals with sound and lighting effects, creating emotional spaces. A discovery trail will lead visitors through various chapels with an emphasis on Africa and Asia, and scripture will be beamed into the walls in various languages, including Mandarin. One of the sanctuaries will even be dedicated to the environment. There you go. So we're rebuilding the cathedral, but turning it into another, what is that place called in Dubai, or Abu Dhabi? Sorry, it's the One World Religion Center. I don't know. I don't know, what do you call it? The chapels, the interfaith chapels or whatever. Okay, there it is. RR. Thanks. I wouldn't put it past them to make it another Abu Dhabi Interfaith Center. That's had the same thought at the same time. And I don't know if this is actually going to happen or not. It said that there were discussions. They started making plans, and we'll see what actually comes of it. I hope that enough people will speak up. I don't know if their people's voices matter, but we'll see. And let's see here. Pachapapa cancels December 8th again. Okay. Pachapapa has no time for religious feast days. He's far too busy with important issues like UN directives and James Martin agenda. Yes. Welcome everyone to the live stream. Welcome everyone to the chat. Okay. And maybe the next conclave will be a Zoom meeting and we can get a virus pope. Well, here's the thing. If they have a Zoom, if the next conclave is a Zoom meeting, Cardinal Farrell's in charge. So we're going to get a McCarrick pope. Not that Pope Francis wasn't, but the next one, I mean, it could be pretty bad. Okay, trendy website. I read it was the Archbishop who proposed the changes Notre Dame. I don't know. We'll see. Or one of his underlings. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Um, okay, so there are some interesting topics here, and as I don't know, are they going to are the bishops going to try to cancel Christmas? I think last Christmas they were. I mean, there was still a lot of restrictions in place, and the obligation was not reinstated. Are they going to remove the obligation to attend mass, and are they going to impose new restrictions? Um, I don't know. I mean, I know viewers are watching this from around the world, different places in the world. I know there's viewers primarily from the U.S., but there are certainly people from different countries, and the situations are different in each country. So I don't know what's going to happen. But stay tuned, and we'll see. You know, if they try to cancel Christmas, um, you know what more new innovations they're going to come up with. Are you going to need passports to attend masses? That'd be pretty unpopular in the United States. You know, that'd be actually really unpopular in the United States if we were required to be jabbed to attend mass. It didn't seem like some of these requirements here from different countries. It seemed like they still allowed the unjabbed, and it was just much more difficult to obtain access to mass being unjabbed. But they haven't. It doesn't look like very many of them have banned completely the unjabbed, and so that's okay. That's I mean, you know, it could get worse. They could completely ban these people, and in that situation, there's going to be a lot of pushback, and there's going to be a lot of masses set independently of the dioceses. And I mean, what do we do? You know, we're in a state of emergency in the church. I mean, if you if you've watched this whole video and you say that there's not a state of emergency in the church, I don't know. I mean, again, you're playing that children's game Twister. I explained that in my Cardinal Sarah video, and if any of you have played Twister, you know what I'm talking about. Or you're just closing your ears and saying, "No, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I'll just not attend my mass because I'm not allowed to." All right. I mean, if that's your choice. You don't have to, but for those of us who want to attend mass, we're not going to take any nonsense, and that's it. I mean, that's just really what we're going to stand for. And thank you so much for watching. This has been EVTN News. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.